Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. We want to talk a little bit about how to buy an assisted living with owner financing. This is probably the best way to go about it right now in the current market with the interest rates. With the interest rates the way they are, people are really struggling. First time home buyers to investors, who buy properties monthly, are struggling with just bank financing, traditional financing because the interest rates are so high. So I feel like the alternative to that is to focus on owner financing and getting properties, assisted living properties for assisted living through owner finance. It's a couple steps that I'm gonna cover real quick, just to give you an idea of what it takes and what it looks like to find a property for an assisted living through owner finance. It's a real simple process, but that doesn't mean it's easy as far as finding the people who gonna actually rent to you, or you know well, because it's like a lease option, like rent to own type thing. It's not necessarily gonna be easy to find these people, but once you find them and once you create a good opportunity and a good arrangement, it could be a win-win for both of you guys. um, the reason why the seller would be interested is because he can't sell his property. It's a lot of people who want to sell in different markets that just can't because the buyers can't get approved or they can't afford these new rates. And what the rates really affect is your monthly payment. So on an average market, you may be paying, say for example, for a $300,000 house, you might be paying under $2,000 a month in the regular market. But now you probably paying 2,500 a month, and that really puts people 2,500 and up for a $300,000 house, where that puts a lot of people who would normally be in the market for a $300,000 house. That just puts them out of their range, so they can't actually afford that level of that amount of property. And when you're talking about assisted living, in most markets, you're going to have at least uh, 4 bedrooms for it to make sense. You want it to, if you're going into it, say if you already have a property with 3 bedrooms or less, or specific different things going on. I mean, you're gonna work with what you got. But if you're going out here to buy, you're gonna at least buy right, so you don't have to go back and try to add things or do. You want to start off in the best position that you possibly can. So the most properties, 300,000 or 4 bedrooms in most markets is gonna be over $250,000. And again, if that's your normal price range, because of the interest rate, you might get pushed out. So a solution to that problem is owner finance. So by going through owner financing, you'll find a property. You'll find like a for sale by owner, or even you could go through a real estate agent, or the best place to find people who will be willing to do business by way of owner finance is through like real estate investment groups, because you'll have access to people who have multiple properties. They have a wider inventory in those rooms. People who actually own properties um, will be more willing to do business with you because they understand owner finances. Most likely they've done it before. They're familiar with the terminology. They're familiar with the contracts, and they're familiar with doing business. See, when you just dealing with a homeowner who just wants to sell, they're not as receptive to creative financing and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean it can't work. So either way, whether you go through a real estate agent, uh, um, a for sale by owner, it's like for sale by owner is somebody who just selling their house by themselves. They're not going through a real estate agent. You can see them like on Facebook Marketplace. You can see like signs around town where they, people got them in front of their house or on the side of the road for sale by owner. I'm sure you've seen that before. And real estate investment clubs. So those are like your meetup groups, your RIAs, real estate. You can go through RIA.com and it tell you where your local RIA is. RIA is a real estate investors association, and they have groups in basically every city in the country where they meet monthly or more often than that, and they'll come together big groups of real estate investors and meet up. And you can go to those places and network and find people who may be interested in it, partner with your assisted living business. One sec, I gotta blow my nose. Hey. So what you find the people who are willing to work with you, the next step is to negotiate the terms. So how do you negotiate the terms on the finance deal? The best way, there's three components of the negotiation. It's the interest rate, the length of the loan, and the amount of the down payment. Now you guys can work out the interest rate. The interest rate just gonna depend on, what you guys feel is fair. Obviously, you're gonna get lesser. You're gonna be less than the average market. That's the point of going in, going in, going this route opposed to the conventional route through a bank. Um, the length of the loan. That's another part that's really important because the way you can do it is, you can say, look, I'm going to give you 20. Say like you got a house that's worth 300,000. He got it appraised, or you got it appraised. Y'all agree that the value of the property is 300,000. You're gonna say, hey, look, I'm gonna put 10,000 down. I'm gonna pay you, and then also not only the length of the loan and the interest rate, but then the monthly payment you also got to negotiate. So you could be like, I'm gonna pay you 1,500 or 1,700 a month. 200 of it is gonna be interest. 1,500 is gonna be principal, and the contract is gonna the length of the contract could be 7 years. Obviously, you're not gonna pay no $300,000 off in 7 years, paying $1,500 a month. But you can have a balloon payment or a balloon clause or like an addendum in the contract where in those between that 5 to 7 years, you can go. If the interest rates get better, you done already put some money into the property as far as you done already paid it down some. You done put your down payment down. You don't owe 300,000 no more. You might only owe 250 at that point, or however you just left on that loan by that time or before that time. What you can do is now you can go to the bank. Now that the race is fixed, the feds then lowered the rates, bank terms is better. Now you can go to the bank and, hey, look, I want to buy this property right here for 220 or 250. This 300,000 property that you had under contract since for 6, 5, 6, 7 years. You done paid it down, and now it's more affordable. So you can pay him out. You get the loan. He gets the rest of his 200,000 or whatever you owe them, 250, and then you just pay the bank off at that point at a better term and more stable rates. Now you in bed with the bank for a 30-year mortgage opposed to a 6, 7 year on a finance contract with this guy. He's out the picture. He's happy. You got the house. You got your facility up and running. So you already making money in the and your business is going on, and you could go right into the next one with the owner finance and stuff like that. So uh, that's kind of how you can negotiate the terms. Hopefully that makes sense. to you on how to how to get that deal done. I mean that's just a real generic way of putting it, but it's not it's just that simple. Like I said, it's simple, but it's not easy because the hard part is finding somebody who's going to be finding a property to fit your criteria, to fit what you're trying to do, uh, a good property in a good location with the proper square footage, with the great amount of with a good amount of rooms, um, that's going to be able to get licensed in your area, right? Once you find that, find a seller who's willing to sell it to you. Like I said, we're gonna go through realtors, like owner for sale by owner. They got for sale by owner websites. They even got a website called for sale by owner, and then you go Facebook Marketplace, and then you go through real estate investment clubs. These are places where you can find people who just trying to sell their properties on their own. They don't want to go through no realtor because the realtor is going to take all kind of fees. So once you find the person, you negotiate the terms. They, you get them a nice down payment. You get a solid contract in place, um, and then you start paying on the property. They're like the bank, so you're paying them monthly. They're getting 1,500 in our example. They're getting 1,500 for the principal, and then they get another 200, 250, and we give them 1,750 a month. That 250 is the interest. That's the fee you paying for them to allow them to do this. So that's just money that's theirs. It's not going towards the principal or the loan or the property that you agreed to pay him 300,000 for. And then in 5 to 7 years, you have a balloon addendum or a clause where you he's going to allow you, or you're going to go to the bank, and when things change and your situation get better, you can qualify if you couldn't before, or it makes more sense for you to now to lower your payments and just to cash him out to get that bank loan, and then that bank loan pays him out, and now you owe the bank, but now you got 30 you got a 30 year mortgage, and it makes more sense. You got this house, you already had the house for 5 7 years. You already built the business out of it, and you could already done this 3 or 4 more times in the meantime. So that's the beauty in buying through owner financing, especially in this market. So what you'll need after that is just the proper documentations. Some sellers gonna want different things to make sure you can handle it. So you gotta basically approach them like the bank. They're gonna be like, oh, can you afford it? What's your credit? You know what I mean? What's your financial statements and stuff like that? Are you capable of making that 1,500 or 1,700, 1,750 a month payment on this house? Are you out? Because you're dealing with another person. You're not dealing with a bank, so but you still have to provide that information for them. Then once you get that, you sign the agreement and any other necessary legal documentation. You go to you can just find a local title company. Most title companies have lawyers. I mean, they are lawyers. The title companies are places where real estate, most real estate track transactions happen, and they're very familiar with different strategies and different ways of closing deals. So, from commercial deals, residential, single families, to creative finance deals like this one. So you'll find a local title company in your market and be like, look, I got this, I got a seller. He wants to sell me his house for 300,000. We worked out the terms. I'm going to give him such and such down payment. These are my documentations. Um, that he's agreed to. He's verified, and we're in agreement. Now we want to close this deal. You take those documentation, you take it to the title company. You guys meet up there. Boom, y'all get the contracts in place. He signs his end. You sign your end. You take ownership of the property. Then once you take ownership of the property, you got it. Now you doing assisted living. Now you have an assisted living for say 15,000 down, and you ain't had to go through no bank. You got a house. You got 5 to 7 years to cash him out with a balloon payment, or you do a long term lease with him, depending on what they want. But I wouldn't drag no regular person out like that, because I mean, they gonna want their money eventually. But a bank is different, so you can cash them out 5 to 7 years, and now you have you done built your business up. So cash getting in, if you've done your business right, you're gonna be made way more income than what you know than what you need just to get that loan. So if you did your credit and you did everything right, you should be in a great position to get a loan. And even you didn't put equity into the house by turning it into an assisted living. So even at that point, the value then went up. So the bank gonna be more than happy to give you a $300,000 loan, or it's not gonna be 300 because you already put the deposit down and you've been paying for 6 years, 7 years. It's gonna be way less, much more less. So if you coming in, you only owe 260, and the house was originally 300, but you didn't turn it to assisted living, and you can show financials that you've been making money for the last 12 to 24 to 12 to 24 months, and you got good financials, that property probably worth 350 400 to the bank. So they ain't gonna have no problem cashing him out, and they could probably give you a HELOC. So a homeowner, and then you probably still be eligible for a HELOC, homeowners line of credit. So it's just open up a lot of options for you. It's an easy way to get into the game. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. You ain't got to really you know, stress yourself out with the banks and worrying about that. Man, I gotta wait until the interest rates go down before I can get in this market. No, you can get in there now. Get your assisted living set up through owner financing, and that's it, man. It's not really a complicated strategy, but it's not simple. It's simple, but it's not easy. And like I said, the hard part is going to be finding the person that's going to be willing to do it, finding the property official criteria, and then finding the person, finding the house that fits the criteria, negotiating the contract, the terms, and then making getting your money up for you can put down a significant down payment. Because just like the bank, they gonna want a down payment, and the person that you're doing it with, they gonna want a down payment. So it might be higher than what the bank want. It might be less. Either way, you want to make sure you got a significant down payment, like upwards of 10,000, 10, 15, even $20,000 to get that person, so they'll know that you're not playing about buying a property, and they can go ahead and move out, and they'll be still getting that 1,700 a month for that property, and they can kind of live on their life until you cash them out with that balloon payment. So that's it for today. I just wanted to come on here and kind of, I've been posting stuff and just not really following up with it. So I want to do some videos based on some of the ideas I've been posting. So if there's any questions or anything, y'all can feel free to post them in the chat. We ain't got many people on here today, but if you feel like it, I mean, if you have any questions based on what we talk about or any just general questions, I can see the chat. You can just post them now, and if I can, I'll answer them to the best of my ability. If not, I'm gonna jump off of here. But I definitely wanted to give you an opportunity to learn a little bit about owner financing and how to utilize that strategy in your home care. I mean, your assisted living business. So if you got any questions, go ahead and post them in the thing. If not, I'm gonna give it about another couple minutes, and I'm gonna hop off of here. Sound terrible, man. It's like every time I start wanting to do lives, I get like a little cold. That's because I sleep with the window on. I sleep with the window open. Who sleep weird like this? The window open a little bit, the fan in my face, and the heat on. I'm asking to get sick because I gotta keep the heat on for the kids. I want to be hot, and I want to have a fan, and I want to be cool for fresh air and all this weirdness. So I'm gonna pull it together. So since ain't nobody commenting, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of here, and we're gonna get back to the next one. I'm gonna keep I got a couple more lives lined up for you guys just to keep this information coming, so you guys can get y'all's business up and running, man. It's 2023. It's a lot of opportunities out here. Don't think because the you can't get a house through the bank and the lenders is acting funny with these high rates, and they just getting it from the government because the government jacked up the rates. so they can slow down the spending in the marketplace, so not to go into a recession. So I understand it, from a broad perspective, but if you're trying to start a business, you got to get creative, and we can't let one thing stop us. So we're gonna get creative and find ways to get it done. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me at allenchain.com. Peace.